Chapter 1. How embarrassing. After a busy day, Lin Nuannuan was extremely tired. She took off her clothes and lay in the bathtub. Warm water engulfed her body. How comfortable. Lin Nuannuan closed her eyes and she started feeling sleepy once the tense muscles in her body relaxed. Before she knew it, she fell asleep. Lin Nuannuan's body slowly slid into the water. When the water reached the top of her head, she suddenly woke up. The feeling of suffocation made her panic, and she struggled to get up. The water splashed about due to her movements, and she raised her hands to grab the edge of the tub, but she found that she couldn't grasp anything. Lin Nuannuan was stunned. She immediately looked around and realized that she was standing in a stream. The water was just above her waist, and she was surrounded by green mountains and grass. The tall trees were lush, looking like a primitive forest. Lin Nuannuan's mind went blank. Where am I? Her first thought was that she was dreaming. Lin Nuannuan pinched her thigh hard, causing her to grimace in pain. I'm not dreaming. Lin Nuannuan was now filled with horror. What was going on? She had only taken a nap during her bath. Why had she woken up in a primeval forest? Could she have transmigrated? She shivered when she felt the chilly breeze blow past her. Lin Nuannuan hugged her arms and realized that she was naked. She was completely naked now, but naked. A string of curses ran through her mind. God, even if you wanted me to transmigrate, couldn't you have let me put on some clothes first? The stream was very cold. If she stood here any longer, she would surely catch a cold. Lin Nuannuan could only endure the feelings of shame and carefully climb ashore. She hoped there was no one else in this forest. If anyone saw her naked, she would immediately die of embarrassment. Just then, there was the sound of water splashing. Lin Nuannuan stopped and looked towards the sound. She saw a tall man jump into the stream. He cupped some water from the surface of the stream and splashed it over his face. His long white hair was wet. Water droplets slid down his cheeks and landed on his beautifully shaped chest muscles, making them glisten. The star-shaped tattoo on his waist flashed in the light. His senses were sharp. The moment Lin Nuannuan looked at him, he immediately sensed her gaze. The man looked up and immediately saw Lin Nuannuan. Their eyes met. They both froze. The man was in heat, and his body was extremely hot. He wanted to jump into the water to calm himself down, but he did not expect to meet a woman here. This woman was more beautiful than any he'd ever seen before. She was hugging her arms tightly against her body, and her waist was soft and slender. Her fair skin was delicate, and her sparkling eyes were like the brightest stars in the night. It made one want to offer her the best of everything. She was like a fairy from the legends, catching his breath in an instant. The man's heart raced as his blue eyes rippled. His throat was suddenly dry. When Lin Nuannuan saw the man's face clearly, she was stunned by his handsome face. But the man's burning gaze quickly brought her back to her senses. She was naked. She had been seen while naked. How embarrassing. Her face flushed as she fled into the forest in a panic. She'd only taken a few steps when the man who was chasing her grabbed her from behind. The man's body temperature was extremely high, as though he was a ball of fire. The moment he touched Lin Nuannuan, she felt like she had been scalded. She struggled desperately. What are you doing? Let me go. The man's arms seemed to be made of steel, firmly imprisoning her. He felt the delicate and smooth skin in his arms, and the last trace of rationality in his brain vanished. He slowly pushed her to the ground and lowered his head to kiss her cheek. His voice was hoarse and sexy with desire. Where did you come from, little female? Why are you here alone? Lin Nuannuan was furious and slapped him in the face. Bastard! Let go of me. The difference in strength between the two of them was too great. Even if she used all her strength, the man would just think she was trying to tickle him. When the slap landed on his face, instead of feeling pain, he felt that the little woman's palm was just too soft. His body nearly went up in flames of desire, but he couldn't bear to be too fierce. After all, she was such a delicate and petite woman. Just looking at her made his heart melt. He really could not bear to hurt this little woman at all. Don't be afraid. I just want to hug you. Lin Nuannuan began to panic. If you don't let go of me, I'm going to call the police. The man asked, Call the police? What is that? Thinking that he was deliberately pretending to be stupid, she became even angrier. She pushed him away with all her might. her fair face flushing seductively with embarrassment. Instead of being pushed away, the man tightened his grip on her. "Don't move. I won't hurt you." Huan didn't believe him at all. She stared at him angrily through her tears, thinking that if he really dared to do anything to her, she wouldn't let him get away with it, even if she had to put her life at risk. The man saw the look of determination in her eyes, and his mind cleared. He suppressed the fire of desire in his body and made a serious promise. "I won't do anything to you. Just don't run." He then let go of me first. The man let go and reluctantly released her. He stepped back. "Will this do?" Huan immediately wanted to run, but she heard the man say, "You're too slow. No matter which direction you run off to, I can easily catch you." He had actually guessed exactly what she was thinking. Huan looked at him and saw that he was smiling at her. As soon as she said it, she remembered that she was also naked. She crossed her arms and turned sideways to avoid the man's gaze. The man stared at her. "Which tribe are you from, little female? Why are you here alone? Where's your male beast? What are you talking about?" Huan had no idea what he was talking about. The man took a step forward, his tall body approaching her. "I'm a male beast, and you're a female beast. We can become partners. Hasn't anyone told you this?" Beast? Male and female? Lin Nuannuan was slowly full of shock. Dear God, what kind of world had she transmigrated to? There were beasts here. Will there be humans here then? Could she ever return to her previous world? The man smiled. "I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Baidi." With that, he transformed. He became a huge white tiger. Lin Nuannuan. There was a monster. Her eyes rolled back from shock, and she passed out. Chapter 2. Baidi. Ting. Confirming host, Lin Nuannuan. Information transfer begins. Information transfer successful. System fully activated. Hello, host. Welcome to System 438. Lin Nuannuan slowly woke up. She rubbed her head. A voice in her head had been talking to her. The other party seemed to be speaking about a system. Baidi suddenly said, "You're awake." Lin Nuannuan regained her senses. Only then did she realize that she was lying on the back of a tiger. When she saw this, Lin Nuannuan recalled the scene of the living person transforming into a tiger. She was still a little afraid. As he carried her along, he asked, "How do you feel? Are you still feeling unwell?" Lin Nuannuan carefully sat up. "I'm fine." "Where are you taking me?" Baidi was fast, and the wind howled past them as they moved. Lin Nuannuan was still naked and shivering due to the cold. "I'll take you to the wolf tribe and witch doctor." Bai noticed a change in her and immediately stopped. He transformed into a human and placed Lin Nuannuan on a large tree, and then took off his leather skirt. He stuffed the leather skirt and the bone knife into her hand as he instructed her, "Wait for me. I'll be back soon." With that, he jumped down from the tree and landed lightly on the grass in the form of a tiger. Lin Nuannuan sat on the tree trunk, her hands clenched tightly around the bone knife. She saw the huge white tiger hiding in the bushes. Not far in front of him was a wild boar that had just eaten and was dozing off. The white tiger waited quietly for a moment. When the wild boar had completely let its guard down, the tiger suddenly rushed out and bit the wild boar's neck. Blood splattered, and the boar squealed in pain. The wild boar struggled desperately, but in the end, it could not escape the tiger's jaws and was bitten to death. Lin Nuannuan, who had witnessed the entire process, was stunned by this hunt. A wild boar that size could send her flying with a casual bump, but Baidi had killed it with a single bite. Lin Nuannuan felt that she had to reevaluate Baidi's combat power. If she really fought with such a powerful man, he could kill her with just 2 fingers. For the sake of her personal safety, she would try not to provoke him anymore. After going back to his human form, he walked to the tree and stretched out his arms while staring at the small female jump down. Lin Nuannuan was very afraid. She was more than 4 meters high up right now. If she wasn't careful, she would end up breaking a few bones even if she didn't die. He saw the fear in her eyes and understood immediately. So, his little female was afraid of heights. Baidi hadn't lived with a female since he left his parents as an adult. He was pretty much blind to their traits and knew nothing about them. When he reached the wolf tribe later, he would have to make some inquiries. The wolf tribe was large, and there were females in the tribe. Surely, they knew how to take care of females. Bai Di climbed the tree with vigorous movements and carried Lin Nuannuan. He then jumped down and landed firmly on the ground. He said, "Give me the knife." Lin Nuannuan handed the bone knife back to Bai Di. Bai Di used a bone knife to remove the skin from the boar's body in one piece, then cut the meat and bones separately. Bai Di cleaned the boar skin and wrapped it around Lin Nuannuan. "This way, you won't be cold." A familiar voice suddenly spoke in her mind. "You've obtained a wild boar hide and triggered a novice mission. Host, please collect 3 animal hides. After the mission is completed, you'll be given a novice gift bag." Lin Nuannuan was stunned. Novice mission, novice gift bag. What were those? But the system gave no response. She could only wrap the boar hide tightly around her and ponder the answer alone. The untanned boar skin smelled of blood, but she had to admit that it was much warmer to have it wrapped around her. At least, she didn't have to run around naked anymore. Lin Nuannuan whispered to Bai Di, "Thank you." The sight of her small form hidden in the boar hide made him have the urge to reach out and touch her ears. "I'll buy you some clothes when we get to the wolf tribe." Lin Nuannuan's ears were very sensitive. When he touched them, they immediately turned red. She endured her shyness and asked, "What's the wolf tribe?" "That's where the wolves live. It's not too far from here. Usually, if I need anything, I go there to trade or buy from them." Sounds a lot like a village. Village? He wasn't sure what the word meant. "I've only heard of tribes and cities. I've never heard of a village." Lin Nuannuan's eyes lit up. "A city? What kind of place is that? Are there humans there?" "Humans? I've never heard of them. Those cities are built by beasts. They're very powerful, but they're also very fierce. If you're interested, I can bring you there to have a look in the future." Lin Nuannuan didn't know what the city was to these beasts. She just took up Bai Di's offer as an ordinary trip and nodded. "Okay." Bai Di cut off the tender part of the boar and handed it to Lin Nuannuan. "Eat." Lin Nuannuan looked at the bloody meat in front of her and was stunned. "This is raw meat," Bai Di said. "What's wrong with raw meat? It's fresh, and it tastes good. Eat it quickly." Lin Nuannuan slowly shook her head in horror. No, no, no. I don't eat raw meat." He frowned. "You don't eat meat? No wonder you're so skinny. You can't remain like this. Not eating meat is bad for you. Eat it." But no matter what he said, Lin Nuannuan refused to touch that bloody piece of raw meat. He had no choice but to find some wild fruits for her to eat. Lin Nuannuan ate the wild fruits contentedly. He stared at her for a moment, then asked, "You're not a vegetarian beast, are you? Are you like rabbits and deers?" Lin Nuannuan was a little astounded. She was neither a rabbit nor a deer. She was human, but Bai Di had never met a human, and she had no idea what the consequences of telling the truth might be. She thought for a moment, then said vaguely, "I'm an omnivore." "An omnivore? That means you eat both meat and vegetables?" Lin Nuannuan nodded. "Yes." "Then why did you refuse to eat the meat just now?" Lin Nuannuan swallowed the wild fruit in her mouth and explained, "It's not that I don't eat meat. I just don't eat raw meat. If it's cooked meat, I quite like it." "Cooked meat? How? Tell me and I'll get it for you." Bai Di was a carnivore through and through. In his mind, one had to eat meat every day or one would fall sick. He could never let the little female get sick. There was no pot here, so a stir-fried dish definitely wouldn't do. She could only settle for a barbecue. Lin Nuannuan said slowly, "First, there has to be fire." "Fire?" Lin Nuannuan asked carefully. "Have you never seen fire?" Chapter 3. I will take care of you. In fact, most beasts had never seen fire. Beasts were naturally afraid of fire. Even after evolving into beast people, they still had a natural fear of fire. Bai Di was one of the few beasts who had seen fire before. He had personally witnessed the destructive power of fire. He looked into the little female's eyes. "Do we have to use fire?" Lin Nuannuan nodded. "Yes." He picked her up resignedly. I'll take you to find tinder. Lin Nuannuan asked slowly, can't we make fire by twirling sticks? Twirling sticks for fire? How? Lin Nuannuan found 2 sticks and began to vigorously twirl them to start a fire. However, after twirling the sticks for a long time until her palms were almost sore, she still could not get a single spark. She was annoyed. TV shows were indeed full of lies. In the end, Baidi couldn't endure it anymore. He licked her palms as his heart ached. Stop it. I'll take you to find tinder. Lin Nuannuan blushed from his licking. She withdrew her hands in embarrassment and changed the topic. Aren't you going to the wolf tribe? He savored the taste of the little female and said, let's go to the wolf tribe first. I'll take you to find tinder after the witch doctor has treated you. Lin Nuannuan immediately said, I'm not sick. I don't need to see a witch doctor. If you're not sick, why did you suddenly faint before this? Lin Nuannuan could not answer. She couldn't possibly say that he was the one who made her faint. He hugged her. Don't be afraid. I'll just get the witch doctor to take a look at you. Sick or not, you're still my female. I'll take care of you forever. Lin Nuannuan froze. She lost both her parents when she was young and had been living in her uncle's house. Although her uncle's family did not abuse her, they did not show her much concern. When she was sick, there was no one to take care of her. All she could do was hide under the covers and cry secretly as she held the photos of her parents. The extreme lack of kinship made her both sensitive and lacking in confidence. She thought that she would never be loved by anyone and was only destined to die alone. His words were the warmest ones she had ever heard in her life. No one had ever held her and said they would take care of her forever. He was the first. Lin Nuannuan wanted to push him away, but in the end, she could not bear to part with this moment of warmth. Her arms quietly fell back down to her sides, and she allowed him to hug her. Baidi ate all the wild boar meat, then turned into a big white tiger. He carried Lin Nuannuan, and they went on their journey. They encountered wild animals along the way, but Baidi had eaten enough and wasn't interested in such prey. He intended to ignore the animals and continue on his way. Lin Nuannuan remembered the mission issued by the system. She hesitated, then finally chose to speak to Baidi. I wish to have 2 more hides. Is that okay? Even though he didn't understand the little female's request, he agreed without hesitation. On their way, he hunted 5 animals in a row. He carefully peeled the fur off each animal and washed it before handing it to his little female. The sight of the little female holding the hides in delight made him happy. Is this enough? He asked gently. If not, I'll go and kill some more animals for you. Lin Nuannuan quickly shook her head. No need. These are enough. She saw the blood on his face and body, as well as the scratch of a wild animal on his arm. She felt both touched and guilty. Lin Nuannuan reached out and wiped the blood off his face. Thank you. It was the first time the little female had touched him of her own accord. Delighted, he pulled her into his arms and nuzzled his face into her hair. You're my female. I'll do anything for you. You never have to thank me. The big tiger seemed to enjoy hugging her. At first, Lin Nuannuan was a little embarrassed, but as time passed, she got used to it. She pushed his chest. Go wash yourself. Killing 5 animals in a row had made Baidi reek of blood, but there was no water source in the area, and Baidi could only find a few leaves to clean himself with. At this moment, Lin Nuannuan was talking to the system in her mind. System number 438. You've collected enough animal hides. The novice mission has been completed. The novice gift bag has been issued. Host, please take note. A cloth bag suddenly appeared in Lin Nuannuan's hand. She carefully opened the cloth bag. Inside was a wooden container as thick as her thumb. It was hollow. She opened the lid and found that there was kindling inside. Seeing that she could make fire with this kindling, Lin Nuannuan was very happy. In addition to the kindling, there was also a sheepskin illustrated book in the cloth bag. A few words were written on the cover. Ancient Flora and Fauna Illustrations, First Edition. Lin Nuannuan opened it and took a cursory look. She realized that it recorded the characteristics and functions of many animals and plants. This is a good gain. With it, Lin Nuannuan would be able to distinguish which plants could be used as medicine and which plants could be eaten. This would be very helpful to her. Lin Nuannuan carefully put away the book and the kindling. By the time Bai Di had cleaned the blood from his body and returned to his little female, he saw that she had a small cloth bag on her back. The little female seemed afraid that he would ask about the origins of the small cloth bag, as her gaze was avoiding his. He couldn't help but smile. His little female had a secret, but it didn't matter. When they spent more time together in the future, he would slowly unravel all her secrets. Bai Di turned into a tiger again and carried his little female away. The wolf tribe was the largest pack of beasts in the area. Not only were there many of them, but they were also very good at hunting together. Their powerful attacks made the other beasts around very afraid of them. The wolf tribe was established halfway up the rock mountain. The terrain on the mountain was complicated. If someone unfamiliar with the area barged in, they would easily get lost. There was a clearing at the foot of the mountain where the wolf tribe held a market every 10 days. The surrounding beasts would come with their own goods and exchange them for what they needed. It just so happened that there was a market today, and there were many beasts gathered at the foot of the mountain. Everyone was choosing their goods, and the scene was very lively. Bai Di shifted back into human form, and he helped Lin Nuannuan to adjust the animal hide around her body. Her entire body was tightly wrapped in animal hide, and only half of her face was exposed. "Stay close to me later," he warned. "Don't run around. There are many bad beasts in the market. If they find out you're a female, they'll snatch you away and sell you." Lin Nuannuan blinked slowly. "Sounds like they're traffickers." "Traffickers?" Lin Nuannuan explained slowly. "The bad guys who abduct women. I mean, females and children. Yes, those bad guys are traffickers. You have to be careful. Never leave my side." "Got it." Seeing how serious Bai Di was, Lin Nuannuan became serious as well. "Yes, I'll remember." Chapter 4. Hooligan. Lin Nuannuan had no shoes and could only walk barefoot. Her fair feet stepped on the ground. Even though there was grass, it still hurt a little. Bai Di was a very attentive male. He noticed Lin Nuannuan's strange behavior and immediately said, "I'll carry you." Bai Di was a very large man with strong muscles in his arms, and he possessed great strength. He lifted Lin Nuannuan with one hand and sat her on his right shoulder. Lin Nuannuan was shocked. She quickly wrapped her arms around Bai Di's neck, afraid that she would fall. Bai Di was very tall, and even among the beasts, who were generally 1.9 meters tall, Bai Di was still the tallest and most conspicuous. Sitting on his shoulder, Lin Nuannuan's field of vision became very wide. At a glance, she could see most of the market. He held her steady. "I'll bring you to the witch doctor first. We'll tour the market later, okay?" Lin Nuannuan was a little unwilling. "I'm really not sick." But Bai Di refused to believe her. He insisted on taking her to the witch doctor. The witch doctors of this world were equivalent to doctors. They knew some medical skills, and in the eyes of most beasts, witch doctors were mysterious and powerful. It was a miracle how they could use some inconspicuous grass and plants to help the beasts return to life. Even the knowledgeable Bai Di was in awe of the witch doctor. The wolf witch doctor was an old, grisly male. His beard was long, white, and thick. The moment Lin Nuannuan saw him, she thought of the legendary Santa Claus. The wolf's name was Dr. Lang Ju. Bai Di put Lin Nuannuan down, clenched one hand into a fist, and pounded it against his chest. He nodded slightly. "Dr. Lang Ju, please take a look at my mate." She suddenly fainted earlier. Lang Ju was dozing off until he heard the word mate. He lifted his eyelids, his shrewd gaze sweeping over Bai Di and settling on the female beside him. The old witch doctor said slowly, "You're really lucky, kid. You actually found a female mate. It's a pity that there are still many young men in our wolf race fighting to get a female mate." Lang Ju paused, then stared at Lin Nuannuan and asked, "Little female, how many male mates do you have?" Lin Nuannuan looked confused. "Huh?" Bai Di pulled her behind him at once, blocking the old doctor's view with his body. His eyes were full of warning. "Dr. Lang Ju, this is my female. Please don't have any ideas about her." Lang Ju smiled, his wide beard trembling a little. "Oh, Bai Di, you haven't forgotten. have you? It's impossible for a female to only have one male mate by her side. Even if you've become her male mate, she can continue to choose other males to be her mates. After all, females were too rare. Bai Dai's face darkened, and he fell silent. Killing intent grew in him. No one could take his female, not even the mysterious witch doctor. Lang Zhu seemed to see that the powerful and handsome beast in front of him had the intention to kill, so he didn't continue the topic. Instead, he waved at the female behind him. Little female, come over and let me see what illness you have. Lin Nuannuan looked up at Bai Di. When he nodded slightly, she moved cautiously toward the old witch doctor. Lang Zhu asked her for specific details about when she fainted. Lin Nuannuan answered all the questions truthfully. Finally, Lang Zhu said, "The little female isn't sick. She's just weak and needs to be taken care of." Lin Nuannuan was relieved to hear that. Lang Zhu reached for a pouch made of hide. "Here, little female, these crunchy fruits are a gift for you. Take them." Lin Nuannuan quickly waved her hand. "No thank you." However, Lang Zhu didn't care. He stuffed the pouch into her hand and said to her amiably, "There are a lot of fun things in the wolf tribe. Since you're here, why don't you stay for a few more days?" Lin Nuannuan held the gift from the old witch doctor in her hand. She really couldn't refuse. She could only force herself to say, "I'll follow Bai Dai's arrangements." She wasn't familiar with the place. The only person who gave her any sense of security was Bai Di. He'd been scowling, but now his expression went back to normal. He picked Lin Nuannuan up and said gently, "If you want to have a look around, it's fine to stay for a few days. If you don't want to, we'll go back immediately." Lin Nuannuan thought about it seriously. It was rare for her to come to the wolf tribe. It was indeed a waste to leave just like that. She wanted to see if there was any useful information here. "I want to shop some more." Bai Di had no problem with that. "All right. Whatever you say." Lang Zhu smiled and said, "It's rare to have a female visit our wolf tribe. This is really something to be happy about. You can stay in the tribe tonight. I'll get someone to tidy up a room for you." Bai Di was now wary of the kind-looking witch doctor. He said icily, "No need for that. I can make arrangements for my female." With that, Bai Di carried Lin Nuannuan out of the stone house where the witch doctor lived. The market was very lively, and there were strong male beasts everywhere. Occasionally, one or two female beasts could be seen, but they were always surrounded by a group of males. It was difficult for others to even look at them. Lin Nuannuan was tightly wrapped in animal hide. Her petite body was hidden under the animal hide, and no obvious female characteristics could be spotted. She sat on his shoulder while looking around curiously. Bai Di carried her to a stone house where clothes were sold. He let Lin Nuannuan choose what she liked. They were clothes sewn from animal hides. The style was simple, and the workmanship was crude. However, it was better than being naked. Lin Nuannuan picked out 2 sets of the smallest animal hide dresses. These ones. The other ones were too big for her. Bai Di took a crystal coin from his belt pouch and handed it to the wolf selling clothes. "Is this enough?" When the wolf saw the crystal coin, his eyes immediately lit up. He said excitedly, "It's enough." This was a precious crystal coin. Not to mention 2 animal hide dresses, it was enough to buy all the clothes in his shop. Lin Nuannuan hid under the wild boar hide and put on an animal hide dress. Bai Di stood guard. He wanted to look, but he couldn't. His heart itched. "How's it going? Is it the right size?" Lin Nuannuan pulled open the wild boar hide slightly, revealing the dress on her body. The tiger-striped hide dress was tightly wrapped around her petite body, revealing her round shoulders and straight legs. Bai Dai's eyes went extremely dark. His voice was husky. "It looks really pretty." Lin Nuannuan's face instantly turned red. "Hooligan!" She immediately wrapped the wild boar hide tightly around her body, leaving only half her face exposed. She glared angrily at the male beast in front of her. He felt as if he'd been struck in the chest by something just by looking at her. His entire heart melted. His little female was getting cuter and cuter. Chapter 5. A family. Lin Nuannuan originally wanted to buy a pair of shoes, but beasts did not like to wear shoes, so no one sold such things. Helpless, Lin Nuannuan could only think about making a pair of shoes herself. Making shoes required a needle and thread. Thankfully, there was someone selling them. Lin Nuannuan looked at the needles and hesitated. She was penniless, and the only way to buy anything was to have Bai Di pay for it. However, he had already bought her 2 dresses. She was embarrassed to ask him to pay for more things. He looked at her for a moment, then pulled out a crystal coin and bought the entire set of needles. After getting the needles and thread, he said to Lin Nuannuan, "Tell me what you want to buy. I have crystal coins." Lin Nuannuan blushed. "Thank you. Take it as though I'm borrowing those crystals from you. I'll make money to pay you back in the future." But he said, "You're my female. We're family. Everything I have belongs to you. I'll give you anything you want." The word family was like a big hand that gently held Lin Nuannuan's heart. The warmth made her want to cry. She had once yearned for a family of her own. However, the early death of her parents forced her to bury this desire in her heart. But now, this beast in front of her had awakened her desire with a single sentence. She really wanted a home. He saw the little female's eyes turn red and was immediately flustered. "Don't cry. Are you feeling unwell? Or did I do something wrong? Tell me and I'll fix my behavior." He wanted to touch her, but he was worried as she was crying. All he could do was circle around her anxiously. Lin Nuannuan wiped her eyes and smiled embarrassedly. "I'm just happy." Happy? He wondered why she would cry when she was happy. Lin Nuannuan held his fingers. "I'm really happy because I have a family now." After visiting the market, the sun was about to set. Lang Zhu sent someone to get Bai Di and his female, but Bai Di refused. He knew what Lang Zhu was up to. There were many wolves in the tribe, but there were only about a dozen females while there were over 300 males. Having more males than females was common in this world. In order to reproduce, each female was surrounded by many male mates. The females of the wolf tribe were no exception, but even so, many young males still failed to find a female to be their mate. To the wolves, every female was extremely precious. Lang Zhu wanted Lin Nuannuan to stay so she could choose a few young males from the wolf tribe to be her mates. Bai Di was furious at the thought of other males sharing Lin Nuannuan with him. Lin Nuannuan was his mate alone. He would never allow anyone to touch her. Bai Di carried Lin Nuannuan away from the foot of the mountain and found a cave nearby. He spread thick hay on the ground, then put Lin Nuannuan down on it. "I'm going hunting nearby. I'll be back soon. Stay here and wait for me. Don't go anywhere." "Okay." Bai Di deliberately used a large rock to block the entrance of the cave to prevent anyone from seeing Lin Nuannuan. Only then did he reluctantly leave. Lin Nuannuan opened the cloth bag and took out the kindling. She gathered some dry wood, stacked them, and carefully lit them. There was a fire. Lin Nuannuan felt the warmth that she had not felt in a long time, and a happy smile bloomed on her face. Using the light from the fire, she began to leaf through the book. The first few pages of the book briefly introduced the continent. 2 points were highlighted. The first point mentioned was the existence of soul beasts, while the other point was about females. Soul beasts were beings that evolved from ordinary beast people and were very powerful. As for females, they were even rarer than soul beasts. They were responsible for reproducing. They were so rare that each female would have many male mates in order to reproduce better. When she read this, Lin Nuannuan became really embarrassed. She did not expect this world to advocate polygamy. She read on and got to the part about the fragrant and crunchy fruits. The leaves and fruits of woody plants could be used as medicine. Consuming them could extinguish excessive heat in the body, while applying them externally can stop bleeding and reduce inflammation. Lin Nuannuan immediately opened the hide pouch that Lang Zhu had given her and grabbed 2 crunchy fruits from it. The dark red fruit was round. Upon taking a closer look, she could smell a faint sweet fragrance. With the little female in the cave on his mind, Bai Di finished off his prey as quickly as he could before hurrying back while dragging the carcass behind him. It was late at night, and the mountains were pitch black. The firelight coming from the cave was especially bright. As soon as he saw the fire, his expression changed. Fire in the cave. His little female was still in the cave. Bai Di quickly dropped his prey and raced into the cave. Lin Nuannuan, who was studying the crunchy fruits, looked up slowly and froze when she saw Bai Dai's anxious expression. What happened to you? He rushed to her and pulled her to her feet. Let's get out of here. Lin Nuannuan was confused. Why? Did something happen? There's a fire. It's dangerous. Bai Dai grabbed the animal hide and lunged for the fire. He had to put it out. Lin Nuannuan was shocked by his actions. She quickly took his arm. Take it easy. I lit this fire. He stopped what he was doing and stared at her in astonishment. You lit the fire? Did you know that fire is dangerous? Anything that touches it will be incinerated. I know, but as long as I'm careful, I won't be burned. Lin Nuannuan tried to convince him. I've been sitting by the fire for so long, but I wasn't burned. It's enough to prove that it's not as dangerous as you think. And I need the fire. It can provide me with warmth and cook food for me. He hesitated for a moment, then relented. The little female needed fire, and he didn't have the heart to refuse her. Bai Dai dragged the prey he had dropped earlier into the cave. He carefully peeled the skin and set it aside, intending to wash it in the morning. His little female liked to collect hides. He was going to satisfy this hobby of hers. Bai Dai cut the most tender piece of meat and shared it with Lin Nuannuan. He watched as Lin Nuannuan cut the meat into strips and skewered them on a branch before roasting them on the fire. The meat sizzled as it roasted. The grease dripped into the fire, sending up sparks. Bai Dai watched, terrified that his little female would be burned. He was tense as he got ready to pounce and rescue her if needed. Lin Nuannuan handed him the roasted meat and looked at him encouragingly. Try it. He hesitated a moment, then took the skewer and bit into it. It was hot but fragrant. It was much better than raw meat. Bai Dai finished the skewer in big bites and praised her sincerely. Delicious. Seeing that he liked it, Lin Nuannuan was very happy. Bai Dai immediately cut the rest of the raw meat into pieces and set them over the fire to roast. He seemed to be very talented in cooking and immediately understood the technique of roasting meat. The meat he roasted was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It was crispy and delicious. Lin Nuannuan ate 4 skewers of barbecue and was full. The rest of the barbecue went into Bai Dai's stomach. The deliciousness of the roasted meat finally made him less afraid of fire. The well-fed Bai Dai turned into a white tiger and sprawled beside the fire. He would occasionally lick his wounds from time to time. The wounds his prey had given him earlier in the day were still on his forelimbs. They had stopped bleeding, but they still hurt. Lin Nuannuan moved over. Let me bandage your wounds. She took out a crunchy fruit, chewed it, and carefully applied the paste to Bai Dai's wounds.